Hello everybody and welcome to level 5. Of course, this is the channel where you can find lots of different types of geeky videos based off your movies, your TV shows, your comic books and your video games. And today I want to talk about Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, a video game that very rarely ever gets spoken about, and I want to talk about it. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions came out, just before the 2010s kicked in. It was made by Activision and it's a level-based game where you get to play as Spider-Man, the Amazing version, Ultimate Spider-Man with the Venom symbiote suit, Spider-Man 2099, and Spider-Man Noir. There are 3 separate acts, so that's 4 levels in each act, and I'm going to be ranking all 12 levels that the game gives us. I'm not going to include the tutorial or the last level, which is Mysterio, the final boss fight. I'm not going to be including them. I'm just going to be ranking the 12 main levels of the game, and the way that I'm going to be ranking this, of course, is based off my own opinion. So that being said, do let me know in the comments down below how you would rank each one of the levels. Do let me know if you did play any of the Activision Marvel games. Of course, there's quite a few, and these games are very rarely ever talked about, and we haven't done a major ranking video as of yet based off of video games, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity, so let's go. In my 12th spot, I have Act 2 for Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the Deadpool level. Honestly, not a fantastic level. You have to run around and destroy all these cameras because Deadpool owns a TV show, which is a really cool idea, by the way. Armored Deadpool does look a bit different as well. He's not your... He's still red and black, it's just his design's slightly different. It's okay. Now, in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, each villain will get a piece of a fragment which enhances their abilities, and Deadpool gets cloned into 3. One of them wields katanas, one of them has dual pistols, and one of them just uses his fists as the final fight. Honestly, it's a bit meh, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of hoping for more from Deadpool. What does save this level is the quips, the jokes, the humour behind Deadpool and Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man has some of the best quips and jokes within this game, and adding Deadpool into the mix just works wonders. There's lots of to and throwing between the two characters. Obviously, Deadpool can break the 4th wall. There's a lot of little moments where he'll throw things at you like, hey, you're taking a long time, and hey, you got another camera to destroy. Destroying all these cameras, though, can be tedious and long and annoying. I do like the goons, though. They're fanboys. I think that's really funny. But yeah, it gets thrown in 12th place just because of how tedious the absolute whole level is. Just tedious. In our 11th spot, I have Act 2 for 2099, which is the Scorpion level. Honestly, I don't find anything majorly wrong with this level, just it's kind of forgettable. Scorpion's really cool though, he's an actual mutated scorpion. Kind of think of how Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 did the whole DNA kind of crossing over with humans. It kind of works like that. He's got one massive pincer and he swings his tail around, which is kind of neat. The goons of this level, no matter which 29 level you have the Public Eye, which is basically their police force, but you actually have scorpion hybrids, kind of hatchlings almost, offsprings, which is pretty neat, and that's what the fragment gives him, is that ability to kind of make offsprings. It's pretty weird. The final boss fight's pretty neat. It's not too shabby. It is very rinse and repeat though. Sadly in this game there's a lot of that. It's just, out of the 3 levels you have for 2099 Spider-Man, this is the most forgettable one. For my 10th spot, I have Act 1 for Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven the Hunter. This level's just boring, honestly. For the first level of the game, Kraven's just meh. The fragment gives him, like, basically Apex hunting abilities. He's faster, he's stronger, and all this jazz. His goons are basically his students, which I did kind of like. I love the level format. The whole, like, jungle theme's pretty sick. But yeah, honestly, this level is just boring. Kraven's nothing to boast about. You know, once you do beat him, you do feel this, like, yay, I beat Kraven, finally, just so I can move on to the next fucking level, sort of thing. It's just meh, honestly. I don't gel with this level very well. The only reason why it's higher up than the previous two is just because the level is very nicely designed, to tell the truth. My 9th spot, going back to Amazing Spider-Man, but for Act 3, which is Juggernaut. Honestly, I felt a bit let down with this level, and that's why it's so low. Juggernaut is the main villain, and the fragment basically just enhances his already known ability. You know, he's an unstoppable motion of force of motion, sorry. Silver Sable is also in this level, which is kind of a nice twist. It's one of the only levels where you have two villains at once, but you don't fight one of the villains. She's just basically the goon plot device. She's the reason why you have a bunch of goons, because they're all part of the Silver Sable, you know, her, like, henchmen. Now, I will admit I did like fighting Juggernaut, and I do like the level design because Juggernaut's constantly berating through buildings and smashing through everything, and there's a whole segment where you have to climb up a building that he's, like, currently running through and stuff. That's pretty sick, but I was just let down on Juggernaut, man. I wish it, like, there was just more to it, if you know what I mean. For my 8th spot, I go into Act 3 for Noir, Goblin. Honestly, I really enjoyed fighting Goblin. Now, this Goblin's more like Ultimate Goblin, where, like, he's actually turned into a mutated freak show. And his entire level's based in his freak show circus, which is a very cool set design. But there's just so much fighting the Goblin. Now, there's a section in the game where only certain boss fights, but there's this whole, like, mechanic where you're up close and personal in first person, and you have to dodge out of their attacks, and you've got to time it right, and then you have to punch them in the face multiple times using your analog sticks. There's a lot of that in this level, and I mean repeatedly. The final boss fight can get a bit tedious sometimes too, but it's still fun. My biggest issue is just over and over again the same, like, 3 set, like, mechanics in the game. Gets a bit tedious, gets a bit meh. It's, again, he's a cool boss fight, but the level itself just is long and winded, man. And also one of the hardest stealth segments in this level, because Noir is all about being stealthy. For my 7th spot, we're going to Act 3 for 2099, that being Doc Ock. Honestly, I didn't mind this level, but majority of it is literally stopping this gigantic battery source. You have 4 massive tendrils going down 4 separate corridors, and you just gotta get to point A, destroy it, point B, destroy it, point C, destroy it, point D, destroy it. But before you get to each, you know, power segment to destroy it, there's something in your way. It's either gonna be Doc Ock herself controlling one gigantic robotic arm, which is dumb, or a bunch of bad guys. It's very, very rinse and repeat. I do like the fact, though, that she's one of the only villains that the fragment doesn't enhance her. It involves her machine that she built, which I did think was actually kind of cool. She's actually higher up this list because of her design. I really do like her design. Her tendrils are different. They're, like, very slick and purple instead of, like, thick tubes, which is kind of cool. She's very, very annoying, too, which is great, because the banter that she gets with 2099 Spider-Man is just phenomenal. But overall, it's not the best level. Now, going into our 6th spot, we're going back with Noir, Act 1, Hammerhead. Honestly, I actually don't have anything wrong with this level. This level's actually pretty good. It's actually a fine level. Hammerhead's an awesome villain, and I love the Noir version. And also, the fragment changes his 2 Tommy guns that he carries around, and it fuses into his skin, giving him a rocket launcher in one arm and a Gatling gun for another arm. What a way to introduce fragment enhancement abilities. That's how you do it, and that's what I was hoping for the rest of the game. it's a good introduction to Noir's universe as well, because obviously the differences between all the villains, which is actually one of my favourite things about this game. Each one of the 4 Spider-Men introduces you to the way the different worlds work. Ultimate, 2099, and Noir all have different universes, different tales, different storylines, and Hammerhead is a perfect example of that. His boss fight's okay too, nothing to shout about. The very first boss fight, because most of these have 2 boss fights, you fight him once and then they use the fragment for the second one. I didn't mind the first one. He just sits on a turret and you've got to get behind him, in the shadows, which is pretty fun. The second time, not too shabby. It's a lot of making sure there's a lot of smoke so you can get behind him and attack him stealthily. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with this level, to be honest, hence why it's where it is. 5th spot goes to Ultimate Spider-Man Act 3 Carnage. This level is actually a lot of fun. I like the fact that Carnage is the final villain for Ultimate Spider-Man. Obviously, the Carnage symbiote being related to the Venom symbiote. Now, in the Ultimate Universe, it's not Venom's offspring. The Carnage symbiote was actually created by the Venom symbiote and Peter Parker's blood. It's kind of like a fusion of the two, which is kind of creepy, but kind of cool. And this level is complete Carnage. Carnage tries to, rip apart one of the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.'s bases. You actually talk to one of the doctors and, Peter gets really, snarky with her and stuff. It's really cool. Carnage is just rampant around this S.H.I.E.L.D. facility, building, and is reanimating dead corpses after he sucks the life out of them, which is creepy, by the way. And the whole thing with Ultimate Spider-Man, with his rage meter, you can activate the rage meter, and the whole point is to take down big groups of enemies, and this level does it a lot, which is really cool. You get to slam a bunch of, reanimated corpses and Carnage offsprings around the map. It's a lot of fun. It can be tedious if you don't like playing as Ultimate Spider-Man, but if you do, it's really fun. Carnage's last boss fight, the big boss fight as well, it's okay, it's nothing to shout about. It's basically just the first time you fight him, just a bit longer, because he hides in this big bulb thing made out of Carnage symbiote, which 2 robots have to burn down. It's okay, nothing to shout about, but the Carnage level itself is just full of repeatedly kicking the crap into reanimated corpses and baby Carnages, and it's a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. To our 4th spot goes to the Amazing Spider-Man Act 2 Sandman. And yes, this is my favourite Amazing Spider-Man level. So of course, from this point on in the ranking system, each level's going to be my favourite of the 4 Spider-Man, and Sandman is my favourite Amazing Spider-Man level, because Sandman gets his personality split. He gets to absorb more sand, basically. In his final boss fight, there's 3 faces that argue with each other, which is really clever. The whole level, you're fighting sand goons, literally made by Sandman, and the whole time you have to get them wet first to actually deal damage, which is a really cool little nod, a way to make this level feel unique and give a uniqueness to the goons themselves. There's ways you can get them wet, throwing barrels of water, or bursting pipes and stuff that'll just continuously spray water so the sand goons walk in front of them, they get wet. And when they do get wet, you can defeat them. Honestly, you can be at this level for ages because you have to get them wet first. And obviously, there's bigger goons that can turn to rolling balls that roll into you and things. Sandman himself is a lot of fun to fight too. Being just the final fight, being this gigantic sand twister. Honestly, it's just a really unique way to make this specific level just feel different and odd, and it's just satisfying once you beat it because it's different to all the others. And like I said, having Sandman's personality be split into 3 separate ways is kind of amusing. For my 3rd pick, I'm going to 2099 Act 1 Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin takes the cake with this level. I adore his design, and the entire time, Spider-Man 29 doesn't know who Hobgoblin is. He has no idea who this new villain is, so you're kind of trying to find out information, and Hobgoblin's a snarky little fuck in this game too, and it's really satisfying when you do beat him, because you actually analyze his suit and things, and you find out that, he was built somewhere. The goons in this, again, with 2099, all of his goons, majority of the time, are public eye plus something. Hobgoblin doesn't get any of his own goons, so you're just fighting the public eye, which is fine. But the entire level is you chasing him down. He gets, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, but he gets, these hell demonic abilities. It's really awkward, but you do have to throw his own goblin bombs back at him, which is a lot of fun. I enjoyed that aspect of the game. It adds this, like, I don't know, you know the scene in Spider-Man 2 where he's like, here's your change, and throws it back at Doc Ock? It kind of gives you that sort of feeling. For my second spot, I'm going with Noir, Act 2, Vulture. This is my favourite villain of all the game. I adore this version of Vulture, and this game was actually the first introduction I had to Noir's version of Vulture. The difference between this version of Vulture is he doesn't wear a mechanical suit and he can't fly. He's a cannibal, and that's why he's called the Vulture, because he's got a pointy nose as well. And he ate Uncle Ben, which is creepy if you think about it. The fragment gives him the cool ability to teleport, and when he does, there's these black feathers that get left behind that slowly fall to the ground. It's a nice little effect. Vulture's really creepy and doesn't like bursts of light, so it feels like you're kind of fighting Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum, where you have to shine the light in Vulture's face, which is kind of repetitive, but it's still kind of cool. Again, you're fighting goons with like Tommy guns, and Noir's levels are stealthy, but the entire time you're seeing Vulture just perch in places, and the closer you get, he'll just leap away to the next area. It's honestly really fun. He's really creepy. He gets right in your face and snarls at you when he talks and things. Honestly, he's my favourite villain in this game. It was done really well, and yeah, honestly, absolutely top notch. And my first, and of course my favourite level in the game, goes to Ultimate Spider-Man Act 1, which is Electro. The reason why Electro tops the cake is purely the banter between the two. Electro gets the ability to absorb more power and grows bigger as he does. The very first time you see Electro, he's just humanoid. When you fight him the first time, he's just like a bit bigger. By the time you fight him in the final boss fight, he's gigantic and trying to absorb electricity from a dam. It's really cool. He gets to make his own villains, these electrical looking demon things, and the different colours can do different things. There's just normal ones that attack you, sniper like ones that shoot lasers at you, which are annoying if you get caught by them, and then big brute ones, of course. Now, Electro is based in the Ultimate Universe here, so he's all blue. He doesn't wear the classic green and yellow outfit, but I really do adore the blue lightning version of Amazing, kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 2. But the banter, oh my god, it's so good. The very first time you see Electro, Spider-Man literally goes, dude, please, put on pants. And because he's technically naked underneath. And the entire time, Spider-Man keeps bringing up the fact the guy's naked. Literally, Electro's gigantic, and you're about to fight him, and he's like, I'm almighty and powerful, and Spider-Man just goes, without pants. It's really dumb, immature humor, but it brings back the nostalgic feeling of being a kid playing this game for the first time, laughing my head off at this immature, just crude humor, and it just makes me chuckle still to this day. And that's why it's my favorite level, because it just brings this just pure happiness to me. But anyway, there's my ranking to all of the main levels in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. When it comes to this sort of game, did you like the level-based sort of aspect? Does that work for you? And honestly, I don't mind it. I wish games went back to this sort of format. Not every game needs to be massive and free-roaming. Sure, it's fun to swing around the city as Spider-Man, but think about how many characters we could get in a superhero game if it was level-based. I wouldn't mind it at all. But do let me know what you guys think down below of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, and what was your favourite level, and particularly which boss fight really pissed you off, because honestly, some of them are really annoying. But with that being said, make sure you check out Tai Tiger for my full walkthrough of the game. Do hit the subscribe button, notification bell here so you don't miss a new video. We're with passion, everybody. I love you all, and I shall see you guys in the next one.